Global happenings today. We communicate, we analyze global news. Stay tuned. Hello guys, welcome to Global Happenings today. We have a trending news here for you, and it's quite a sad one for Saraki family. The headline of the news reads, Saraki in tears as government of the day demolishes his family House-Ile Arogbo. But before we go on with details of the news and further analysis, we'd like to encourage you to please subscribe to our channel by clicking on the red subscribe button and also on the bell icon so that you can get a notification anytime we publish videos on YouTube.
The Kwara state government announced that it would demolish the popular family house of the Sarakis last month. The decision generated heated controversies between the followers of Senator Bukola Saraki and the governor Abdulrahman Abdulrazak. The decision was reached after a panel by the Kwara state government recommended that the house be demolished because it was acquired illegally. The demolition was done over the night, and once celebrated house, popularly known as Ile Arogbo, now lies in ruins. The land will now be used for the construction of a secretariat by the government. Many aged women staged multiple protests and kept vigil at the house before it was demolished overnight. The state government plans to build a secretariat on the land in this year 2020.
All right, thank you very much. And you can see the pictures there of the demolished house. It's really a disheartening one for the family of Saraki. Starting off the year 2020 with this kind of news is not actually a good one. Nigerians have jumped to the social media to air their views about it. This one says they were the original contributors to the change agenda. It is often said change affects you either positively or negatively. Bukola Saraki, your tea is well saved. Another one here said, great news that this symbol of subjugation to Saraki family is demolished. A new era has begun indeed. Another one here say, he may be related to Ihedioha, imbecilic leaders whose only achievement is to destroy the legacies of past leaders out of bitterness and jealousy, plus the pains from realizing they can and will never attain such greatness. He should come and bulldoze the Reverend Saraki still hold in our heart, product of a pit latrine romance. This one say, good job of all governors in the country. AA has the best rating so far. Redistribution of wealth is a good thing. The social welfare needs of the elderly is a priority. Saraki was governor for 8 years. If he was so concerned about social welfare of elderly, he should have made it a state policy and passed a law to make it a budget item. If that happens, the elderly in Kwara will be dependent on state and not on any private individual. A person that feeds and clothes others also contribute or also control and manipulate their will. No elderly should be at the mercy of a private politician because they can eat. Social welfare generally is why Awo was forever denied presidency of Nigeria. That was one of the pillars of AG and later UPN to create government policies so people can go to government for need as part of their rights for freedom, liberty, and pursuit of happiness. Government is able to institute social welfare program, but they will not. Our politicians prefer we are dependent on them to eat. In fact, building a secretariat creates job need for construction and starving. Another way of redistributing income and growing local economies. God bless Governor Abdulrazak Abdulraham. Wow. All right, let's look at this carefully. It's a difficult one to really look at because that is not the property of Saraki, Bukola Saraki, is the property of his father. And it was acquired many years ago. I can still remember that in those days, in some 20 years ago, if you see the way lands were allotted to people, some may be based on contribution, your contribution to the society. They just say, okay, take this part of the land. I could still remember where I come from. that they will just pick a stone and throw into a far distant place and say, if you can locate the stone, just make sure you put a stick there and know that this land belongs to you. Some did not even pay for the land. Some, they just gave it out to them like that. But unfortunately, if you don't legalize it, you may end up like this, especially when a kind of governor who does not like you, who does not like your persons come on board. The first thing they will request for is, can we see the C of O of the place? Can we see the receipt that show that you actually bought the land from the government? All of that may be a deterrent, and all of that may affect your ownership of the land. I think that's the same situation here. Yeah, we know that the Sarakis have done one or two things and all of that, but I think that since Saraki has been politically defeated, going that extra mile, Abdul Razak going that extra mile in stripping him of especially something that had been there for a long time is not really too good. Don't forget that the house was not even a house occupied by him and possibly him collecting rent. It was actually built for the elderly, so going to strip them of it is not, for me, is not really good enough, except you would tell Nigerians or tell Kwarians that after stripping them of their home, you're going to build for them another better home. Social welfare ministry is also virtually in all the states is there. So what are the provision on ground? Because I believe there's no provision, because if there had been a provision on ground for them, they wouldn't have been the case of some of them coming around to protest that please don't demolish this, these are only home and all of that. If you have made provision for them, they wouldn't have done that. So for them to come out to do that, they're just telling you, you're about to take food out of our mouth and put stone. You're about to take our home and lead us to stay in the gutters and all of that, which I don't think is good enough. Those women, I know they are going to pray against the government of the day, but however, they think also that the government should reconsider, if not Saraki, they should reconsider those elderly people. Saraki has faced the worst of it all. Don't forget that EFCC is even threatening to confiscate some of his properties in Ikoyi and the likes. He has been screaming. And when this case came up, he had already sent a letter, wrote an open letter to the governor of the day in Kwara State, Abdul Razak, trying to tell him that all of these were the acquisition of my father. I know that you're trying to match up with my achievement politically, and you will not, and that if he goes ahead with his decision, that he will not find it funny from him, because he's going to vent in his anger. I believe right now the government of the day will be waiting to see and feel that his anger. All the same, whatever that must be done not on the grounds of vengeance, because one of the things I have noticed about government is that especially whenever people take over positions like this, position that they have been craving for quite a long time, the next thing that you will see is you see them fighting opposition, wanting to demolish the opposition. And whenever they do that, it ends up, the people end up suffering, because like what he has just done now, the elderly people who were occupying that house, they are the ones suffering now. And I don't like that drama. It's not really good enough for the people of Kwara State. However, whatever decision or whatever use they're going to put the land up for, it should be such that will be beneficial to people and will give them at least increase their income in one way or the other. I don't know if you have a different response to it as based on this issue.
My response is one and the same. I feel that the government of the day demolishing the house of the aged is very, very wrong. These people a lot of them probably don't have, maybe their children are not doing well. They don't have good care, home care, social welfare, probably not there. And demolishing the only place, whether it's politician or not, the fact that the politicians are even remembering them to give them a home, shows that one way or the other, the government of the day are lacking behind in issue of social welfare. And now the Sarakis took it upon themselves, to do this. It's a plus for the Sarakis. I would have expected. I don't think that land is the only land in the whole of Kwara State that the governor of the day, the governor should build a secretariat from. So it's just a case of, you can see that actually it's a deliberate act to either humiliate Saraki or to make him, speak out. Maybe he has been silent for a long time,
which is indirectly affecting other people.
Others, and that's the crowd. When these elderly people, yes, we may say this doesn't make sense, but I still believe in prayers. I still believe that God still answers prayers. If these women cry in tears, if these aged people cry in anger, I fear that his tenure may be one of the worst. Because where were you before now when the Sarakis were taking care of them? You were nowhere. And as soon as you came into the bin, the only thing you could think of is to demolish there are several land. When I keep hearing people say that the secretariat is good, it's going to empower people, I'm not disagreeing to that. I'm totally in agreement with that. But why must it be that particular land? Is that the only place that the secretariat will be better and to be beautiful? You can put secretariat anywhere. In fact, the more it is in a rural place, the better, so it can decongest the urban area, so that people can migrate more into the suburbs. So picking the agents home is indirectly you want to spite Saraki. And I noticed that it's always common with when an opposition party takes over. Yes. From any party in the state. A typical example is what happened in Ekiti, APC, PDP. You can see that Fayemi and Fayose right now is under EFCC custody because it's an opposition party. But if it's within the party, just find out that whatever crime, whatever for fraudulent activity that took place, they will just cover it, and work on it. There won't be any escalation. Same thing is happening in PDP, and same thing is happening in Imo State between Dioha and Okorocha, Rogers Okorocha. If both of them were in the same party, you won't be seeing so much demolition of statues and all that. But simply because they're all from different parties, you get to see this. But most of the time, they say when two elephants fight, the grasses pay the price. Right now, it is the aged women that are paying the price, and it's not funny at all. I would have said that demolition property is even not the best. There are better ways to go about this. Demolition property is wasting of resources. It took something to build that. Instead, you would have probably auctioned it if you must. Auction it. But then you say you want to use it for secretariat. Where will you place the aged people? Right now, they are homeless. Probably they don't even have food to eat. They don't have shelter in this environment that is so hostile. I expected him to first of all make provisions for the aged before demolishing the house. But right now, I don't know how it's going to work, but I just hope for the best, really.
All right. According to one of the respondents, Bukola Saraki still has been well saved, but just that what goes around comes around. I know that whatever that is happening down in future, we'll still be seeing a repetition of it, but in another light. That's where we're going to wrap it up. Go to our comment section. Let us interact. What's your position on this new step taken by the person of Abdul Razak, who is the governor of Kwara State, demolishing the house of the elderly, which was built by the Saraki?